evening, everyone. Today's class, I'm going to explain about bio-inorganic chemistry. Bio-inorganic chemistry deals with the study of materials, chemical, and biochemical changes in living organisms. These include origin of the living matter, its growth, reproduction, and so on. So the chemical compounds involved in this process are called biomolecules. Almost nearly 30 elements are found in the biological system of living organisms. These are divided into essential and non-essential elements. Essential essential elements absolutely necessary in small. They are necessary in small or large quantities to our body are called as essential elements. So the elements which are absolutely necessary in small or large quantities to our body are called essential elements. Example: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, iron, chloride, iodide, etc. All these elements are essential elements. These are required for the growth, reproduction, and biochemical functions in our body. So these are involved in many of the processes for the living matter. And these elements are divided into two types, macro and micro elements. Macro element and the micro elements. Coming to the macro elements, the elements which are the macro elements and the micro elements. Macro elements are the elements which are required in more than 1 milligram. Those which are required more than 1 milligram are per day are macro elements. These include carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus, calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium, chloride. So these amounts are required more than 100 milligrams or more than 1 gram per day. Microelements. These are the trace elements which are required less than 1 gram, or these are the trace elements required in amounts less than 100 mg per day are called microelements. See, essential already I have discussed. So under these microelements, you can come across here chromium, copper, fluorine, iron. Actually, iron is required in the micro. So it's next manganese, magnesium, molybdenum, selenium, zinc. Probably essential are nickel, silicon, tin, non-essential elements. Bromine, non-essential. You are having bromine, boron, sometimes silicon, arsenic, nickel, aluminum, lead, vanadium, tin, all these are already present in the elements. These are the present in the body. These functions are not clearly known, and hence these are called as non-essential elements. Some of them are toxic in nature. Now let us discuss the importance of the elements in the biological system. First, we'll see the importance of the sodium. So, first, the sodium functioning in the body helps to maintain the right balance of fluids in our body. It helps transmit nerve impulses, influences the contraction and relaxation of muscles. The source of the sodium ions is common salt, main source, where you can get sodium, potassium. And the distribution, if you see, sodium is present in fluids of outside of the cell, and potassium is mainly present in the fluid of inside of the cell. So sodium Na plus is extracellular ion and K plus is intracellular ion. So absorption, it takes place in the gastrointestinal tract. Abundant electrolyte in the body. And the normal level is 134 to 142 equivalents per liter. Each source is diet. And sometimes the limitation is most essential for the proper blood pressure. Coming to the functions of sodium, it regulates water balance, maintains the normal hydration osmotic pressure, it regulates water balance. Sodium and potassium ions helps in maintaining the normal osmotic pressure in the body and protects the body against the extra loss of the fluids. Controls the extracellular fluid volume and water flows sodium in the body. Maintains a normal acid-base equilibrium. Sodium and potassium ions. They react with the weak acids, carbonic acid to form buffer, and regulates blood pH at 7.34. It increases the cell permeability, stimulates the conduction of the nerve impulses. Helps maintain neuromuscular irritability. Controls contractibility of the muscles. So neuromuscular irritability can be avoided. It is helpful for the normal acid-base balance. Transport of the carbon dioxide. Secretion of the digestive fluids, that is HCl. Gastric HCl is formed from NaCl of blood, and alkaline digestive juices like bile juice, pancreatic juice, all these derive from the sodium and potassium salts of blood. So regulation of the acid-base balance in association with chloride, bicarbonate ions as a buffer, maintenance of the osmotic pressure and fluid balance, essential for muscle and nerve irritability, cell membrane permeability, involves the glucose galactose amino acid absorption, maintenance and initiation of the heartbeats. It also maintains the viscosity of the blood, initiation and the maintenance of the heartbeats. So the viscosity of the blood can be maintained by sodium and potassium. It helps in regulating the degree of hydration of plasma protein balance and keeps globulin in physical condition, hence maintains the proper viscosity of the blood. Now, let us see the importance of potassium. Coming to the importance of potassium, just like that of sodium, it has great meanings. It is not only the essential mineral, but an energy conductor to function properly. Our body needs adequate amounts, but most people are not getting this potassium levels. So it can lead, the low levels can lead to the high BP, muscular cramps, weakness, and even lead to the change in heart rhythm. So the wonderful benefits for the potassium are supports brain health, plays an important role in osmotic balance between the cells and the interstitial fluid. When there is low in potassium, fluids cannot move around the body. It reduces the risk of stroke. Potassium plays role in the regulation of the nervous system, heart function, and even water balance. High potassium diet helps to reduce the risk of stroke. And the next function of the potassium is it improves the heart health, contraction, relaxation cycle. All this depend upon the potassium and improves the heart. Next, and high BP alleviates the high BP, focusing on the eating foods high in potassium, reducing a food high in sodium, and can help restore balance and reduce BP. The potassium supports bone health. So potassium reduces the bone resorption, which is the process by which bone is broken down, and this results in increased bone strength. So the bone health can be improved by potassium. Reduces the muscle cramps. Potassium, it is needed for both muscle movement and balancing the right amount of fluids in and out of the cells. So deficiency of the potassium can result in muscle cramps. Decrease cellulite. Eating healthy fruits, vegetables, and legumes rich in potassium and other nutrients helps us to reach a healthy weight while reducing cellulite. Next, coming to the next function of the potassium is it supports a healthy weight. So decreasing the cellulite and supporting the healthy weight. Potassium helps the weak and fatigued muscles, boosting the health. Along with the heart health, even the muscle, the fatigueness and the weakness are reduced by this potassiums. And the nervous system work properly, even keeps the water in your body balanced condition, and it helps in the healthy weight for the human body. So these are the wonderful benefits for the potassium. Next, let us see the functioning of the chloride. So for the chloride also it's the same, just like sodium, even this potassium and the chloride has a biological significance. Intake diet as a sodium chloride. So the function, it is the chloride ion is essential in water balance, osmotic pressure regulation, It maintains acid base equilibrium, and the chloride also plays a special role in the blood by action of chloride shift. So the gastric juice shows a special importance in the production of HCl acid. As we have discussed, the gastric juice HCl is generated from NaCl. Similarly, the chloride ions are very much important for the gastric juices of the body. And next, once if the chlorine is deficient, we know the loss of sodium as diurea. Similarly, both of them are interconnected, thus chloride and the sodium. And certain endocrine disturbance chloride can be observed. The loss of the gastric juice, vomitings, duodenum obstruction, there is loss of chloride ions with sodium. It leads to decrease in the plasma chloride and it increases the bicarbonate concentration, resulting hypochloromycosis. Alkalosis. So similarly, just like this sodium, even the chloride has the same function. The hydration, osmotic pressure, and normal acid-base balance. For the secretion of the digestive fluids, gastric HCl, for the blood and the alkaline digestive fluids. All these can be functioned by the chloride. Common salt NaCl is a main source of chloride in the body. Chloride ions are involved in the formation of HCl as we have discussed. They help in maintaining the acid-base balance, the fluid balance, the control of osmotic pressure. Enzyme salivary amylase is activated by chloride ions. These ions are the major constituent of plasma and cerebrospinal fluid. The concentration of chloride in plasma is 95 to 105 milliequivalents per liter. And deficiency of chloride causes dehydration, vomiting, heavy sweating. So some of the persons who are having heart problems, high BP and urinary problems should control their daily intake of NaCl. Now, let us see the importance of magnesium. So magnesium, the biological significance, it is an essential element for animal physiology. 60% of the magnesium present in the 60% of the magnesium, whatever is present, the total magnesium in the body, the total 60% of the total magnesium in the adult human being, it is distributed in the skeleton. Yeah, it is distributed in the skeleton. 60% of the magnesium is in the skeleton. While remaining completely it is present in the cells. And due to small size, high charge, greater charge size ratio, magnesium ions are strongly hydrated. And these hydrated, and whatever this hydrated, magnesium ion is there, the complex binds. Here you can see in the nucleotides ATP, ADP, polynucleotides, DNA, RNA. So magnesium ions form strong complexes with oxygen on various phosphate groups. These complexes are important in storing energy and it is used in the stored energy when necessary. And when all the enzymes utilizing ATP in phosphate transfer required magnesium as a cofactor. And intracellular magnesium ions are essential to keep ribosome intact. Ribosomes are RNA protein complexes to have the size of 200 angstrom diameter. They occur in the cytoplasm and they involve protein synthesis. Enzyme catalyzing replication, transcription of DNA requires gene band magnesium. Nerve impulses, transmission, muscle contraction, metabolism, carbohydrates associated with the interaction of the magnesium nucleic acids. So here it relieves the insomnia. Magnesium prepares your body for sleeping by relaxing your muscle. So it relieves from insomnia. Magnesium it prepares your body for sleep by relaxing your muscles. It calms your nerves by regulating neurotransmitters and it keeps you awake. So body for sleep by relaxing your muscles. It calms the nerves here by regulating neurotransmitters that tend to keep you awake. Protects your heart. So low magnesium in your body and diet has been linked to this risk of heart. Yeah, risk. So low magnesium in your body and the diet increases the risk of the heart disease. Magnesium plays an important role in keeping calcium out of the tissue like blood vessels and getting calcium to your bones. So it helps for keeping in the calcium. It plays an important role in keeping this calcium out of the tissues like blood vessels and getting calcium to the bones. Instead of blood, it goes into the bones. So that maintenance is done by the magnesium. So it helps in movement of the calcium into the bones and not to the blood. It combats asthma. Magnesium it is used as a therapy in hospitals for life-threatening asthma. And because of its potential to stop the spasms of your bronchial muscle. So reduces this magnesium, it even reduces the high blood pressure. And magnesium it relaxes smooth muscles. Because of these, the muscle cells, those your veins and arteries, so they don't get constriction, the flow of blood. So the proper blood pressure is maintained and the flow is maintained through the magnesium. It improves the digestion and alleviate and elevates the constipation symptoms. So the digestion properly it is done, and whatever constipation is there that can be avoided using this magnesium. So if you don't have magnesium, you can't digest your food. But whatever it is involved in the digestive process cannot be digested if there is loss of magnesium. And it can lead to constipation, which is the common symptom of the magnesium. So magnesium deficiency can lead to constipation, no free motion. It protects against the diabetes. So magnesium deficiency, it is associated with a response that contributes to it contributes to type 2 diabetes, ensuring that you have adequate magnesium levels with lower your risk. It supports the bone growth. And the researchers show that the people getting higher amounts of magnesium in the food and supplements have higher bone and mineral density. Once if there is a magnesium deficiency, poor cognitive process, headache and the chronic migraine, severe headaches. Just can't correlate the poor cognitive process. Constipation and related disorders like IBS, fatigue, the physical, mental, emotional weakness, insomnia, muscle spasms and cramping, the pains in the muscle and chronic pain and fibromyalgia, heart arrhythmias and numbness, tingling, no proper cognition, mood and behavior disorders. Suddenly you get depressed, suddenly there is depression, suddenly there is a weakness, and such type of signs of the deficiency can be observed. Here, the headache, and I have to give you a clear. Sorry. Now, here are the signs of the poor cognitive process. Headaches, you can see. And not only, uh, uh, there are many studies, 10 symptoms, different symptoms of the low of magnesium are explained here. So 300 biochemical functions, many functions are there, and the deficiency, chronic fatigue as a to weakness in the muscles we can observe. Normal serum level magnesium, it generally ranges from 0.75 to 0.95 milliliters. Okay. So when body doesn't produce optimum levels of energy, some process will be adversely getting affected. So reduced magnesium level can mean that muscles do not function well. So proper muscle function is not there. That muscle spasms and cramp and fibromyalgia. These are the symptoms for the magnesium. Now, functioning of the calcium. Distribution of the body calcium. First, the adult human body contains approximately 1100 grams, 27.5 moles of the calcium. 99% is the body skin, the bones. So calcium is in bone. Body calcium, body calcium levels are normally 9 to 10.2 milligrams per deciliter, 2.25 to 2.55 millimoles per liter. Of all the total amount, 50% is free ionized calcium and 9% it is combined with various ions, carbonate, bicarbonate, citrate, phosphate. Everywhere you can see calcium, phosphate, calcium bicarbonate, calcium citrate, calcium phosphate, lactate, sulfate, and so on in the combined forms. Remaining 41% it is bound to the serum proteins, mainly in the albumin. So free ionized calcium is in the physiologically important component of the total calcium. In plasma, the ionized calcium concentration is normally maintained within a tight range. So in the plasma, the ionized calcium concentration is normal and maintained in a tight range of 1 to 1.25 milligrams per liter. Now let us see the biological significance of the calcium. Calcium, it is essential for all organisms. Most of the calcium, 90% found in the bones, used in the formation of cell for some of the animals. Calcium important in the bones, teeth as a calcium phosphate. The enamel of the teeth is fluoroapatite and calcite and the anhydrite in the eggshells and mollusks, the calcium involved in the muscle contraction. and neuroactivity to maintain the regular beating of the heart. Apart from this visual process, calcium it is involved in the cell walls. Many enzymes use calcium in support of their structures. Enzymes like alpha amylase, thermolysis contain calcium in the structures. So calcium is the prone present as a hydroxyapatite. The concentrate of the calcium in the plasma is contained around 100 milligrams per liter. Calcitonin, parathyroid hormone, you will see the next slide. So during the period of the growth, deposition of the bone does not exceed the resorption, aging. The resorption predominates and causes loss of 15 to 30 milligrams per day. So vitamin D promotes deposition of the bones, calcium ions in cytoplasm for the muscle fibers and play important role in the muscle functioning. So calcium salts in the bone provide structural integrity of the skeleton. This abundant mineral in the body, it balances intake and storage and excretion. This balance is controlled by the transfer of calcium among the organs. Intestine, bone, kidneys. So calcium in extracellular and cellular fluid is essential for the normal function of host of biochemical process. Neuromuscular excitability, signal transduction, blood coagulation, hormonal secretion, enzymatic regulation, neuron excitation, all these function for calcium. So as I've told you, the two hormones of the calcium, calcitonin, see from thyroid gland, get this calcitonin, inhibits the calcium resorption being excreted in the urine. That's it. Here. And it promotes the deposition of calcium in the bones. Inhibits the osteoclast cells in the osteoclasts. And the same, it inhibits the calcium absorption by the intestines. And this lowers the calcium levels in the blood. They should be higher in the bone and it should be less in the blood. So this all are regulated by calcitonin hormone, which is related by the thyroid. Here coming to the benefits of the calcium. Calcium is the most abundant mineral, essential, important uses as we have discussed. Neurotransmitter release, blood clotting and muscle contraction. It supports the bone growth and this clinical trials they have found that the calcium is a supplement of. So this calcium promotes the dental health, balances the blood pressure, okay, and the kidney disease controls the kidney stones, kidney diseases, reduces the cancer, and it promotes the weight loss. Clotting of the blood is influenced by presence of the calcium ions. So blood contains prothrombin, soluble protein, and this is converted into thrombin by the action of converting soluble fibrinogen into fiber. So these functions are performed by the presence of calcium. Okay. So I hope you have understood my class, the importance of the elements. So what we have discussed today's classes, bio-inorganic chemistry, the essential elements, microelements, and their requirement we have seen. Importance of the sodium, functioning of the sodium, distribution, and importance of the potassium, the health benefits of the potassium were discussed, and importance of the chloride. chloride functioning deficiency and how it's interlinked with the sodium and ions. Magnesium ions are importance, biological importance of the magnesium ion. So different health benefits, and once it gets deficient, how it affects. Everything was discussed. Only the signs of the magnesium deficiency, very important one, it's been discussed. And coming to the calcium, essential element for all elements, 98% of the found in the body, and its biological significance, how it's regulating the hormones, functioning of the hormones. All this discussed. Its distribution and its importance and different functions are discussed. And how the thyroid gland is releasing the calcitonin. Calcium deficiency can affect all the parts of the body. Relating, you can see the weak nails. And here, the calcium deficiency is why it is a vital mineral. Our body uses for the building bones, teeth, as we have discussed. And when you don't get enough calcium, when you don't get enough calcium, there is a risk of developing disorders like osteoporosis, osteopenia, hypoglycemia, calcemia. The children who don't get enough calcium may not grow in their full potential heights as the adults. So we have to consume according to the recommended levels per day. It is through the food supplements or vitamins. So poor calcium intake over a long period of time in the childhood. So there are different disorders, poor calcium intake over a long period of time, especially in the childhood. And medications may decrease the calcium absorptions, dietary intolerance to the food rich in calcium, hormonal changes in women, certain genetic disorders. All this can be upset. Women need to increase the calcium earlier than men, starting in the middle age. So meeting the necessary that a calcium requirement is particularly important for the women menopause. And during menopause, women should increase the calcium intake to reduce the risk of osteoporosis, calcium deficiency. The decline in the hormone estrogen during menopause causes women bones to thin and fast. Hypoparathyroidism can be parathyroid hormone, controls the calcium levels in the blood. So other causes for the hypocalcemia is malnutrition, malabsorption. So low levels of the vitamin D makes it faster to absorb the calcium. Medications such as different corticosteroids, drugs used to treat the elevated calcium levels. So if you miss your daily dose of calcium, you won't become calcium deficient overnight, but it still improves to make an effort to get enough calcium every day, since body uses it quickly. Calcium deficient quickly because they don't eat calcium rich diet. Calcium deficiency won't produce short-term symptoms because the body maintains calcium levels by taking directly from the foods. But long-term low-level calcium can have serious effects. So thank you for today. I hope everybody have understood the class.